Hello and welcome to the In the Money Media YouTube channel. In the midst of a week where we're doing a lot of looking back, we're going to look forward to the Preakness. Very excited to be covering this event once again this year's second leg of the Triple Crown. Not at Pimlico this year. That will be a surprise to some of the people watching. While Pimlico is renovated, we're going to be at Laurel Park this time around. And it's a different kind of a Preakness, JK. But I guess we start with the big question, and we'll get to him as we do the actual top five here. But I think the headline is, will he or won't he? Do you expect we're going to see Golden Tempo in the Preakness this year?
Yeah, I think probably. I think especially based on his running style, he doesn't feel like the type of horse that's going to give knocked out by the end of the week. Obviously, we're waiting for him to get back to the racetrack. And the one thing I will say about Cherie DeVaux and her husband David Ngordo, who is obviously probably not there in an official capacity making the decisions, but is definitely going to be a sounding board for Cherie while making her decision. St. Elias and the Phipps stable. I would say that one thing they all have in common is that racing is very important to them. The sportsmanship of it, the
tradition.
The game itself. Yeah, no offense to Sheikh Mohammed, but racing is a very important hobby of his, a very important part of his life. But I'm not quite certain that he puts it on the pedestal of doing what he thinks he should do for the sport type of situation. Which makes me think that even if they're on the fence, they'll probably fall to the side of having him run. But we'll see. I do believe in the horsemanship of Cherie DeVaux, and if she doesn't feel like it's the right thing to do, then that'll ultimately trump any of our selfish hopes and wishes.
JK mentioned Sheikh Mohammed, of course, the owner of Sovereignty last year. I always thought right from the jump they might have been thinking, and it didn't work out this way, but hey, best chance of having a fresh horse for the Dubai his own backyard was to maybe not have 3 tough races in 5 weeks. That's not at play here. As you mentioned, the Phipps family is storied as they come in the connection to the history of the game. I think you're right. The horse will tell him, and they'll do whatever he says. We should know by the end of the week. We will cover that breaking news whenever it hits. This is why you should be subscribed to the In the Money Media YouTube channel so you don't miss any of our YouTube exclusive coverage. Very often we will just be popping up videos at a time you might not expect. So keep track. Also, while you're subscribing, while you're here on this page, we want to know who you think is going to win the Preakness. Put that down below. And now we get on with the regularly scheduled programming of the top 5. I remember years ago, the Tessio winner, JK, in the Preakness was a bit of an afterthought. They do not historically have great records in the race, but very often they're running against a bunch of horses coming out of the Kentucky Derby. The way the game has changed, the way horsemanship has changed, you're not going to see as many of those, to say the least, coming back in 2 weeks' time. Therefore, you're facing a bunch of horses that maybe passed, looking for this, hoping it would be an easier spot. Anyway, this is all to say, I think Taj Mahal is a legitimate contender in this race. I think the way his figures are training, Brittany Russell trains him. How funny would that be to have 2 female trainers winning Triple Crown races this year? And it's not the same woman. A testament to how impressive so many of the jobs that they do are. Anyway, Taj Mahal, contender or pretender to you?
Yeah, I mean, I think it all depends on who shows up, right? I mean, that's the disclaimer. I won't say that for every horse. I'm just going to say that as a blanket conversation here. Look, I mean, I agree with you. I think that the number that Golden Tempo earned, a 95 buyer, isn't one of those buyers exiting the Derby that scares everyone away. He is the Derby winner. If he runs in the race, he's very likely to be favored, depending on if the other horses show up, which we'll get to. But I do believe that this horse, Taj Mahal, fits. But I do worry about his style because I do believe he'll get pressure and he will have a Derby winner if the Derby winner runs running at him late.
Let's move on to a horse that decided not to compete in the Kentucky Derby, though he did have an entry in there to opt for this spot. He comes from some form lines that are getting a lot of attention because he did race against the likes of Golden Tempo and Paladin. But perhaps the most interesting case to be made for Chip Honcho is that despite that disappointing run, I'll call it, in the Louisiana Derby, where you can argue they used the wrong tactics trying to rate him rather than use his early speed. Since then, where he kind of has an excuse, he's worked really, really well. What do you think of his chances?
Well, I mean, I think the problem is that will go back to a phrase that I've kind of twisted and turned that I think Mike Maloney said in the book you guys did together, Betting with an Edge, which is like there's no bad trips in slow races. To me, there's Golden Tempo's biggest issue the entire time leading up to the Derby, this is my little recap here, was that he wasn't that fast. And it turns out on Saturday, he still wasn't that fast. He just got an unbelievable setup that day and a masterful ride by Jose to win. So with that being said, if I'm still questioning how actually good he is, I can't get excited about a horse that he beat in Chip Honcho. I just feel like Chip Honcho's style is forward. If someone wins this race forward, I don't believe it will be Chip Honcho.
Let's move on to the next name on the list, and that's Iron Honor. We've seen this movie before from Chad Brown, having a horse that could have run in the Derby, skipping it to come back in the Preakness. He's won it 2 times with that exact same pattern with cloud computing and early voting. Will Iron Honor be the third name on that list?
No, unfortunately, I don't think so either. Let's see what Chad decides to do. Iron Honor, I think, had a question mark about if he wanted to go much further. He kind of felt like maybe he was a mile type. I know Chad had been quoted as saying that he thought he was going to be better longer. I didn't really see an excuse in the Wood Memorial. And I don't also think, just like the Golden Tempo statement, I'm not really sure how good the Wood Memorial was this year.
The slow race.
We didn't get to see Right to Party run. Albus, I don't knock him for not running that great in the Derby, but whatever. So I'm not really sure how good that race is either. Another horse a little bit forward. To me, if a forward horse wins, I actually would prefer the number 5 horse on the list, Taj Mahal, over the last 2 we just discussed.
Interesting. So either I didn't do a very good job of putting this top 5 list together, entirely possible, and even doing this little exercise makes me appreciate our friend Eric DeCoster and all the work he does putting lists together all the more. Either that I did a lousy job, or you really like the top 2 names on this list. Number 2, I went ahead and put the horse we've already talked about a little bit, Golden Tempo. We've seen over the years, yes, occasionally a Derby winner will come back flat in the Preakness, but it's much more common that these horses hold their form. If Golden Tempo holds his form, even if we accept that it wasn't a very fast Derby coming in a 95 speed figure, still a very real chance he just wins. Do you like him at number 2 on the list, or would he be one you'd be really aching to bet against should they go forward, even though you might want to root for him for the story from a handicapping point of view?
Yeah, the few conversations that we've had in this arena, Pete, about the Triple Crown, you know where I stand. I don't see any reason to move it. I think it's special the way it is. And I think that the success that Derby runners have in this race is evidence that you're getting better performances than you are worse performances, which is some people act as if like Derby horses don't run back because they're not going to run well. I believe that if Golden Tempo runs back, Golden Tempo will run his best lifetime race in the Preakness. Now, the problem is that I'm not sure if that's good enough, because even if he goes from a 95 to a 98, 95 to a 99, that still might not be good enough to beat the top horse if he shows up and runs.
All right, so you've tipped your hand. I didn't do a bad job making the list. You're just really a big Crude Velocity fan. The silver wig will be in effect on the 3rd Saturday in May, it sounds like. Crude Velocity, of course, made his return to the races in the Pat Day Mile. For a second there, looked like he might be in trouble. Pretty talented sprinter out there in front of him in Englishman, had the edge. Didn't matter to Crude Velocity. He reeled him back pretty easily in the end and finished up like a real good horse. How likely of a Preakness winner is he?
Well, a fun story I'm sure we'll talk about a little bit later as well, but I'll give it to the people that tuned into this top 5. I was at Jeff Ruby's, and after the races, and I saw Bob Baffert, and we were talking about the horse, and he goes, I quieted Cherie for about an hour, which I thought was a funny quote. But the other thing is
who trains Englishman, of course.
Bob said that there was some serious chatter between the connections of Englishman and Crude Velocity, where the conversation of let's run for pink slips was starting to come up. They were trying to bet their horses on the other one, and I'm serious. No, Bob. And I even heard Cherie make a joke about it too. Bob made a joke about it. I think that would be absolutely hilarious. And I'm going to remind Mike Rapoli of that next time he gets into an argument with someone. Just run for pink slips like we're in Fast and Furious, and whoever wins
Oh.
gets the horse. That would be hilarious.
I love our cultural differences there are amazing, and I love it. You go Fast and Furious. I'm thinking about, the Beach Boys in the 60s. Just one more thing. I got the pink slip daddy. And yeah, I'm thinking about some recent feuds in racing that kind of played out in the track there in the Kentucky Derby. How dramatic that would have been had the Phippses so long associated with the Jockey Club and Mr. Rapoli been racing for pinks, as it were. We'll make a reality show out of it. It could be a whole new level for the sport, JK.
Yeah, be wild. Crude Velocity was sensational. It was the best performance of the weekend. Not as if he ran like some 127 buyer and we're cutting in line to call him the next flight line. But I will tell you this though, the way that he ran, looking that horse in the eye, getting pulled away from twice, leveling off and then still running by him, lightly raced horse. I think if he runs in the Preakness, he'll be the winner. Now, selfishly, I hope he doesn't run in the Preakness because I want Golden Tempo to win. Selfishly for me, for the sport, I think we're always, with the record momentum we have right now, with all the records that were broken last weekend, whether it be viewership, the Oaks handle, I think having a triple crown that last time we're going to be at Belmont would be really cool. That'd be great to have. And like I said, selfishly, it'd be a lot of fun. But if Crude Velocity runs in the Preakness, he wins, and then we'll be looking for maybe hopefully a rubber match in the Belmont.
Oh, it's going to be so much fun. Hopefully they both turn up again. There'll be breaking news on that. We've got you covered here at the In the Money Media Network. JK, great to get your thoughts on this one. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Leave us your comment down below. Who's going to win this year's Preakness?